Hello everyone, welcome again. I'm really very glad that you are here for our next session on MySQL basics. Contents, what we will be covering in this MySQL basic elements: literals, data types, null values, comments. And then some points to remember: commands, clauses, keywords and arguments. What are constraints? Understanding DDL and DML commands. Now, what are the different MySQL basic elements? There are certain elements which play an important role in querying a database or defining a database. Now, these basic elements are literals, data types, nulls and comments. Now, let us learn one by one what are these. Literals. Literals basically they refer to a fixed data value. Fixed data value may be of character type or maybe numeric type. So, can be a character literal, that is character or text literal, or a numeric literal. Now, how you will understand that it's a character literal? By seeing if anything which is given, whether it's a text or a number, if it is mentioned inside single quote or double quote. Remember, if it is mentioned inside single quote or double quote, then it is a character literal. Like for example, Ajay, which is given in single quote, and then Thomas, which is given in double quotes, and then 596. This is though a number. You might think that this is a number, but it is given inside single quote. That means it is a character literal. Now, numbers that are not closed in quotation marks are numeric literals. Like any number you take, any number you consider, whether it's a positive number or a negative number, if it's not given in quotation mark, it is a numeric literal. Concept of data types. Data types in MySQL, what are the different data types? And what is a data type? You know this, that it is the kind of data which a particular field of a table holds. A particular column of a table will hold certain data, and what kind of data that particular field is holding, whether it's a numeric, it's a number kind of a thing, or it's a character or a text kind of a thing, or it's a date. So what is the type, what is the kind of data that particular field is holding, that is data type in MySQL. Now, data types, if we broadly classify, then we have numeric types, string or text type, that is string, text or character types, date and time types. Now, what are there in numeric types? Now, in case of numeric type, we have int, integer number, tiny int, small int, medium int, big int, float, double and decimal. Now, float, double and decimal, these three hold data which are of floating point numbers, that is which has a decimal point in it. For example, if we take a number 32, so 32 can be considered as, only 32 can be considered as integer or number, But if we write 32.0 or maybe 32.5 or 32.9, then they will be considered under float, double or decimal. So you can define that particular field using any of this numeric type. Now in your syllabus you have int, integer, number, and you have float, double and decimal. Now coming on to string or text or character types, we have char, varchar, varchar2. Now these three are very important, which store string or character type data, and also you should know these extra few data type which comes under character, that is blob, text or tiny blob, medium blob and long blob. Now what is this? Let us understand. Char is basically a fixed length string. It holds fixed length string and it's a fixed length character data type. And varchar and varchar2, varchar and varchar2 both they hold character data type but of variable length. See this var which is written, var tells you that it's a variable character data type. Now blob is what? Blob or text, it's a field with a maximum length of actually 65,535 characters. Blob stands for binary large objects and are used to store large amounts of binary data such as images or maybe other types of files. We will not go into the details of this since we have in our syllabus char, varchar and varchar2 for string or character types. Now coming on to the next one, that is date and time types. Now what is this date and time types? By the name itself you can understand. In date and time types we have date, year, time, date time, time stamp. Now date, this is a data type. It is in the format of YYYY for year hyphen mm hyphen dd. So it's a YYYY DD format, and it takes date between 1000 year 1000. So 1st January 1000 and 31st December 9999. So this is the entire range of date which you can take. Now for example, we can say like December 30th 1981. So what you will write? You will write it as 1981 hyphen 12 hyphen 30. So this is the way you write date. And year stores a year in a 2-digit or a 4-digit format. Time is there, which stores time in HHMMSS format, hour, minute and second. So and we have date time and timestamp. Since we have only this date data type in our syllabus, so we will concentrate on this only, but later on we will see some of the library functions where we will be working with date, time and year. There will be some library functions which with which we will work on. So let us move on. So now let us see the data types a little bit in details which you have in your syllabus. Data types. In numeric data type you have number, integer, int. They are all same and you can use any. Now the parameter which they take is you just need to write size. Now what this size is, this size, it will take the number of digits you want to give it to the field. Now it is used to store a numeric value in a field or a column. It may be decimal, integer, or a real value. So let me give an example to you. Suppose you have given admission number and you have given integer as the data type, and the size you have mentioned as 4. Now what kind of data it can take? It can take any number which can hold 4 digits, like this, like 1234 or 9879 and 9999 is the maximum number. It can take a number like 65 also, because it is within the range. Only 2 digits you are using. 4 is the maximum for this example. Integer, if you increase the size, if you increase the parameter, and if you take it as suppose 6, then it can take values till 6 digit maximum. So this is the way you can write. Now let us see for decimal. Now decimal is what? Decimal, size D, an exact fixed point number, total number of digits is specified in size. The total number of digits after the decimal point is specified in the D parameter. The maximum number for size is 65, that is this one, and D, this parameter, that is total number of digits after the decimal point, and size will tell you total number of digits before the decimal point plus after the decimal point. It is total number of digits before the integral part and after the decimal part. The integral part, that is before decimal, and the decimal part, that is after that point. So the maximum number for D is 30 and the default value for size is 10. If you do not mention anything, by default it will take size value as 10 and default value for D is 0. So for example, if you write like this, decimal 5, 2, so that means, let me give you an example. So price. Now suppose I have taken one field name as price and written decimal 5, 2. That means total number of digits in the integral part, that is integral part is before decimal and decimal part is after decimal. So total number of digits is the size, and the size over here you have written is 5. This is the size and this is D. D is 2 here. That means total number of digits which it can take after the decimal point. Clear? So you can write number like this. Suppose 45.50 is okay. Yes, you can write, but you cannot write like this. Why? Because point after point you are writing 3 digits, which is not allowed. Because after point here you have given 2. If you increase this, now it is okay. You can write one more number here. But if you increase one more number here, so there are now 6 digits, 45.5048, that means there are total 6 digits. So you have to increase this also. Now this one is okay. This one is correct. If we write like this, 6, 4. 6 means total number of digits before and after the decimal point. And 4 is number of digits after the decimal point. Now coming on to character type. Character type, char size, varchar size and varchar 2 size. Now char and varchar, what is the difference between these two? Char is fixed length character data type for a string that can contain letters, numbers, special characters, anything. The size parameter specifies the column length in characters, that is total number of characters you can take. And variable length character string is varchar. So variable length character data type is varchar or varchar2. This also can contain letters, number, special characters, but we will see the difference in the next slide in details. These are the examples: cat10 and varchar10, varchar210. For example, size you can change up to your choice. You can take the size. The size maximum it can take, char can take is 0 to 255 and varchar can take within 0 to 65,535. Moving on to date data type. Date is what? Date data type can take date in the format YYYYMMDD. The supported range is from 1011 to 9999, 1231, 31st December 9999. Quite far away. Okay, so simply you write date. For writing a date, I'm showing you how you write for character. Suppose we are declaring a variable, a field name with character data type, and suppose you have given 15. Okay, now another, suppose you are declaring another field address, and you have given this time varchar as suppose 20, or let us take 30, anything you can take, or you can also write varchar2. There is no difference between varchar and varchar2 as such. You just remember this, that you can use varchar or varchar2 for variable character data type. We won't go into the details of difference between varchar and varchar2. Rather, I will tell you the difference between char and varchar in the next slide. So let us see what is it. So char and varchar. Okay, before telling you char and varchar, let me show you this also. For date, suppose I have taken one column as DOB, date of birth. I just need to mention the data type date, like this. That's it. Nothing else you have to mention. Fine. So let us move on. Difference between char and varchar. Now, wastage of extra spaces is there, as all data elements may not use all space reserved. And processing is simpler. Let us take an example and understand what happens in case of this fixed length character data type char and variable length character data type varchar. Now see, if I take a field name char6, that means 6 blocks are there, memory blocks are there, which has been reserved for this particular field name. Now suppose you have taken a name Avik. Now it is taking only 4 spaces, 4 blocks. So the rest of the 2 blocks are still reserved. That means is a wastage of memory. But the processing is very simple. Now let us see in case of varchar. Suppose the same thing, you have taken name varchar6. So there are 6 blocks you have taken, but you have given the name as Avik while inserting a record. Now the rest of the spaces which has not been used in case of varchar, they are not reserved, they are freed and they can be used somewhere else. So there is no wastage of extra space, but the processing is little bit complex in case of varchar. So you must remember the difference between char and varchar. So moving on, nulls. Now we started from the basic elements. We have covered literals, data types. Now coming on to nulls. So if a column in a record has no value, then column is said to be null or to contain a null value. A reserved word, this null is a reserved word, and a special marker to indicate that a data value does not exist in the database. Nulls can appear in fields of any data type. Maybe it's character data type or date data type or numeric data type or any kind of data type, nulls can appear in the fields, provided they are not restricted by not null or primary key constraint. About constraint we will learn in the following slides. Now one thing you have to note this very carefully, that 0 and null, or you can write it in small letters or in combination, since MySQL is not case sensitive. So remember this, that 0 and null are not equivalent. They are not the same. So if you are putting a 0 value, let us take example of this particular table where I have given admission number, name, marks, city and DOB. 5 columns are there suppose, and there is a marks column which is containing values like 80, 0, null and 60. So 0 and null doesn't mean the same. Why? Because 0 is a value, but null is a reserved word which indicates that no data value exists for this. That means while entering the record, this third record, you have not given any marks to the third record. That is why it has taken null. This one is 0, that means you have given a value 0 to this particular field value for this second record. Now next point is, any arithmetic expression containing a null always evaluates to null. Let us take these examples from this table itself. So if we do 80 plus 0 plus null plus 60, you will get the answer as null. So any kind of arithmetic operation like plus, minus, into, divide, whatever you do, if there is a null in the expression, then that will always evaluate to null, right? So this is all about null. Now another basic element is comments. Now what are comments? Comments are basically non-executable statements which are ignored by the language processor. The language processor can be compiler, interpreter, assembler. Statements which are not executed are comments. It can appear anywhere within the code, and basically it is given for documentation purpose, for the ease of the programmer or the user. This is just to give some statements so that later on when you open your code, or someone else who is working on the same code, if he or she opens that particular code, by seeing the comment, he or she will understand that what exactly the code is doing. So this is what a documentation purpose. So that is why comments are given for documentation purpose. Now how you will begin comment? You can begin comment by giving a slash and an asterisk symbol, slash star. You can begin comment with double hyphen symbol, or you can begin comment in MySQL using a hash symbol. Remember, comments, this term you will get in other programming languages also, like in Python, C, C++, whatever, where comments represent some non-executable statements which are simply ignored and they are not executed. But the symbols are different for different programming languages. So let us move on. So we have learned about literals, data types, null values and comments. These are the basic elements of MySQL. And some points to remember: MySQL is not at all case sensitive. That means if you are writing your code in either uppercase or lowercase letter, that means either you can write it in capital letters or in lowercase letters or in a mixed way, all these cases are same. Let us take the example of, suppose you have taken the name of a relation as student. Suppose the name of a table is student. Now if you write student like this, or you are writing student like this, or you are writing like this, fully capital, or in any of these ways, where you have the combination of capital letters and small letters, they will all refer to the same database object. So remember, the case sensitivity is not a factor here. Just we have to remember this. And another very important thing is that underscore is allowed in the naming of a relational object. Now, what does that mean? That means that a database object, if you give some underscore or a digit, they are valid. Now let us take this example. Suppose student, this is the name of one database object. Suppose this is the name of one table. Now this one, stu underscore dent, this is another table. Now these two are not the same table. Again, if you write like this, student 1, this is another table. Student underscore 1, this is representing another database object. Let us consider here as table only. But if you want to start name of a table, like if you are writing, you are creating a table, and you have given name of the table as stu. Okay, fine, there is no problem. Now instead of this, suppose you are giving the name as student. Okay, this will be another table, so let us write it in a separate manner. Now this is another table. Some code will be there definitely. That is quite obvious. I am not going into the details of the codes right now. I am just telling you that the naming conventions which you can use. Now suppose you are writing another name of the table like this. Suppose you have written create table you have written student 1. Now all these are separate tables, and if you write student underscore 1, that is also a separate table. This is not the same as student 1. Now suppose this is valid. Now if you write like this, create table, and suppose the name of the relation you have given as 1, 2, 10. Now this is wrong. This is wrong. Why? Because you cannot start a name of a database object with digit at the beginning. If you want to write like this, underscore 1 student, this is valid. Okay, fine, because it is starting with underscore. Clear? So you have to remember these. What are the different valid database objects naming convention? So you have to write accordingly. Now let us move on. Commands, clauses, keyword arguments. Commands are what? Commands are instructions to database. And clauses, one or more logically distinct paths in a command. Keyword is what? Certain specific words known by the language processors. And arguments complete or modify the meaning of a clause. So now let us see commands. For example, let us take this particular example where I have written one command. This entire thing is a command. This entire thing is a command. Select name from student where marks greater than 80. Suppose we want to see the details of from the table student, we just want to see the name of those students who have got marks greater than 80. Now this entire thing is the command, and command always ends with a semicolon. Remember, command ends with a semicolon. It's an entire instruction which you are giving to the database. You can write the command in one single line also. That means you can write like this: select name from student where marks greater than 80. You can write in one single line in MySQL prompt, or it looks actually better if you write like this. Why, I will tell you. Select name from student where marks greater than 80. You can write like this. Why? Let us understand why I am telling you to write like this. Because both the ways are correct. There is no issue in that. See, even if I write like this, this is also correct. This is also a correct way of writing your query. There is no problem. But I prefer this. Why? Clauses. Now understand clauses from here. One or more logically distinct parts in a command. Now we can say that this particular line, select name, this is the select clause. From student, this is another clause. This is from clause. Where marks greater than 80, this is where clause. Now actually you will understand later that these are keywords. Keywords are what? Certain specific words known by the language processors. The compiler or the interpreter, whatever, is a language processor in a programming language. They understand some certain specific words which are already predefined. So here the language processor will understand what is this. From is a keyword. So you cannot give name of a table as from, or you cannot give a database name as the name or any database object as from, or you cannot give any database object name as where, because these are certain specific keywords. So when you are writing this from clause, this is another where clause. Here you have the keyword from, where is another keyword, select is the keyword, and this entire thing is the command, select query command. And what are arguments? So you have understood the difference between clauses. So this is entire thing is a from clause. This entire statement is the where clause. This entire statement is the select clause. And argument is what? Arguments, they complete or modify the meaning of a clause. So if I say this is a from clause, student is the argument. You are talking about which relation or which database object. Yeah, if I consider this as the where clause, where marks is the argument, marks greater than 80. So marks is the argument over here, right? So hope you have understood commands, clauses, keywords and arguments. So let us move on. What are constraints? Constraints, integrity constraints or constraints, simply we can say constraints are certain restrictions or conditions which are applied on a table or on a database or on a particular field. So here we will concentrate on integrity constraints which are applicable or permissible to a database. There are certain rules that are applicable on a database at all times. So integrity constraints determine what all changes are permissible to a database. What types of integrity constraints? What are the different types of integrity constraints? What are the different types of restrictions you can apply to the field of any particular relation in a database? Let us talk one by one. Mainly 6 types of integrity constraints are there. First is primary key. This is an integrity constraint, a condition given to a particular field or a set of attributes which helps us to identify or which helps us to differentiate between any two tuples within a relation. So when you are creating a table, you have to mention which is the primary key of the table, because if you are not having any primary key in a table, then the table is of no use, because there will be redundant data. You will be able to give redundant data for all the fields. Then what is the purpose of that? That means every student can have the same admission number, every student can have the same name, every student can have the same marks in a table. So there is no use of that database. There is no use of that particular table where you do not have any primary key. Though you can create a table without any primary key, and later on you can add the primary key constraint. And when you are applying primary key to any particular field, suppose while creating the table student, you have made admission number ADMNO as the primary key, right? So when you are making this ADMNO as the primary key, let us take the example of this particular column. Suppose you have made primary key, you have made this particular column as primary key, then primary key will hold all unique values, right? This is one thing. And it will hold non-null values. That means if you make any particular field as primary key, it cannot hold redundant value, that is, it cannot hold duplicate values, and it cannot hold null value also. Now the next type. What is the next constraint? Unique constraint. Now if you have made any particular column as unique, then that particular column will hold non-redundant values. That means that particular column will not hold any duplicate values, but it can hold null values. So suppose you have made any particular column unique. So for that particular column, if you are putting any value, let us take this example only. So if you are putting any, suppose you have made name as unique, name column as unique. So if you are taking any value here, all the names will be unique. But suppose you don't want to give any name to a certain record, you can provide null value. So unique means non-repetitive value, but the difference between a primary key and a unique key constraint is that unique can hold null values, whereas primary key cannot hold null values. Now this difference comes every year, difference between primary key and unique. Now moving on to not null constraint. Not null constraint is what? If any particular attribute or any particular field, if you are giving this condition, integrity constraint, not null, you cannot keep it blank. That means you have to mention something to that particular field value. Check. Check is another attribute integrity constraint where you are giving certain condition, certain check condition to a field. Like suppose for a marks field in a student's table, the check will be, the marks cannot be less than 0 and marks cannot be more than 100. Suppose the test is out of 100, then a student cannot get marks less than 0 or more than 100. So that check is to be given. Now what is this default constraint? Default constraint is, if you give default constraint to a particular column in a table, that particular column, if you leave it blank while entering any particular record, then that particular field will take some default value which you will provide while creating that table. let us consider a table with admission number, name, marks, stream. Now suppose you have given a default value arts to this stream field and you are entering records. Suppose you are entering a record with name as Ajay, whose admission number is suppose 453, and name is Ajay, marks is 80, and stream he wants to apply. You have not given any value to that, but what you did is earlier while creating that table you gave arts as the default value. So if you leave the stream blank for Ajay, it will by default take that arts for Ajay. So when you will see the table, when you will see the records, you will see that Ajay has been allotted arts stream by default. So this is what default constraint is. And finally, foreign key. Foreign key, you already know that it is a reference to the primary key of another table, and how we will give constraint in the coding I will tell you in the next video, that how we are creating a table using all these constraints, and also this foreign key using references keyword, how we will create a table. Now, understanding DDL and DML queries, which we have to focus on. So DDL commands, create. Now create command is used to create schema objects, like you will create database and then you will create table and indexes. So indexes is not there in a syllabus, but database and table creation is there. So create is the command, DDL command, to create any schema object. Drop commands are used to delete or remove schema objects. Example, suppose you want to drop a database, that means you want to remove a database, so you have to use the command drop. Or you want to remove a table, so you have to use the command drop. You cannot use the command remove or delete a table. No, for deleting an entire table or to delete an entire database, you have to use the command drop. Alter is very interesting, right? So alter is also a DDL command which is used to modify or change the definition of already existing schema object. That means suppose we have a table, let us take the example of this particular table, EMP. So to create this EMP table, you will use the command create. To remove this entire table, you have to use the command drop. And alter is, suppose we want to add another column. Let us take, we want to take date of birth, or maybe address, or maybe phone number, or city. Suppose we want to add another column, city. Now for this, you will have to change in the table that you will have to add another particular column, another new field. Or suppose you want to change this existing column, existing attribute ename, this attribute's size you want to change. Suppose while creating the table you have given size as 10 for name, now you want to make it 20. So you want to increase the size, that is the number of characters a name can take. Earlier you gave 10 while creating the table, now you want to increase that. So for that you will use alter command. Again, alter commands are also used to modify, change, add or drop any particular column. That means if you want to remove a certain column, suppose I don't want this department number column, or suppose I don't want this salary column, I want to remove from here. That is, I want to drop this particular field from the table. The table will exist, but this particular field will be removed. So then also you need alter command. And for giving any particular constraint or removing any constraint from any field, alter command is used, and we will see this practically in the next video. And what are DML commands? Data manipulation language commands. 4 commands we will see, and we will focus on these 4 commands in details in the next video, where I will tell you that insert is for insertion of information in the table. Suppose you want to add a record, suppose you want to add the 5th record in this EMP table, then you will have to use insert command. Update, that means modification of data stored in the table. Suppose I want to change the name of this XYZ. Suppose this particular person's name, the spelling I have given, I have done a mistake in the spelling, or maybe suppose the salary is different. Suppose the salary is 50,000 and by mistake I have given 30,000. So then you will have to use update. So any particular value for a particular record or records you want to change or modify, then update command you have to use. Delete of information, that is you want to delete a particular record or any particular records, or maybe all the records you want to delete, then you will have to use delete command. Deleting information from the table. Suppose I want to remove this XYZ record, 1006 XYZ manager 30,000, this particular person I want to remove from the table. So delete command will be used. Here remember that delete and drop are different. Even if you delete all the records, still the entire database will, the entire table will be there. The structure of the table will still be there, but delete will delete all the records. But if you drop the entire table, that means the entire table will be removed. That means the entire table will be removed from the database. So suppose you want to insert in that table where you have dropped that table, you have to again create that table. But if you delete the records and then you want to insert, you can just insert record because the created table is still there. Hope you have understood. And finally, select command for retrieval of information stored in the table or database. You want to see the records or particular fields in a table or particular records from the table. You want to just see or to list or to show. These kind of terms are used in the question paper also. You will see that write a command to list or to show. So then you will understand that this is a select query. So select query is used to retrieve information, just to get information from the table. Select query doesn't change anything in the table, right? So select is also under data manipulation language command. Finally, always remember that fear has 2 meanings. Either forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. Now the choice is yours. So stay safe, stay aware, stay healthy, stay alert. All my best wishes are there with you. We'll meet in next video. Till then, thank you for your patient hearing.